All right, why don't we just go ahead and get started? What the heck?
Mhm.
Ian, do you want to go first?
Sure.
So, as you guys know, Ian is the author of one full-length poetry book and a couple of chapbooks. And the full-length one from Ugly Duckling is called Forget Thee. And it's quite a delight to read. I love it. I read it in one night I guess, probably a year ago it came out, right? Or
A
longer
little more,
than
yeah.
that. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, Ian Dreiblatt, take it away, sir.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Uh, this is so nice. I'm happy to see some of my favorite kids here and some of my favorite people here. I'm super psyched to be reading with you, Eric. I've been a huge fan of Eric's writing since I read The Two Sound, which I guess is almost probably about 20 years now. So it's um so this is I'm really psyched. Also I have really nothing special to say about it, but it seems I just want to acknowledge that the American poetry lost like one of its most luminous writers yesterday or the day before.
Yeah,
And I have really nothing special to say about Lynn Higinian that somebody else couldn't say better, but just seems worth acknowledging because it's been sort of jarring. Uh,
yeah, for sure.
yeah. Um, so I'm gonna read some poems. In my backyard in Brooklyn. Thanks for showing up on Zoom. I hope that you're all like never mind. I hope everybody's having comfortable. I hope you're all very comfortable. Okay. I'm gonna start. I didn't write this poem. I sort of wrote this poem, but it's Boris Pasternak wrote it in Russian and then I translated it into English. It's called February. I often read it when I do readings in February. I think the only thing that might be worth saying, if you don't know the word grivna, it's like a unit of currency. It's like a coin. A grivna comes up in the poem. February. It's February. Grab a pen. Cry. Write. Wail about February while the clamoring slush burns on the back of spring. Call a cab. 6 grivnas, some church bells, and a screech of the wheels later. There you are, where the noise of rain drowns out ink and tears, where thousands of rooks drop from the trees like charcoal pears, landing in puddles, dry sorrow to the bottoms of eyes. Under it, the ground blackens in patches of thaw, wind dug up, screeching. The more random the poems we wail out, the better. Um, thanks, Boris. Unfortunately, I wrote the rest of these. So I'm going to read some that I wrote. This is called "Which Animal Would You Rather Be?" Listen, say what you want about my scruples vis-a-vis hostage taking, embattled sense of tone, color, melody, inability to navigate a suburban noodle menu, inexplicable indebtedness to the lyric soprano, but the record will show I can still wreck a barbecue. The teeth that were metal in your mouth become stones in my belly. There are, as we know, 5 kinds of metaphor. The small star that falls onto the roof, the giant wing that holds off invaders, distances brazed in seawater, Robocop, the turning of the seasons. What once I said deliberatively, melismatically, in the long enfolding skirt of cyclical time, I now say with the clipped astonishment of a newly drafted chaplain. Oh, lift him up, that's all. Circuit gleams like bad advice. I'm so ashamed that I lived in a world of salt and suddenly after all these years just finally managed to hack the spectral authority of our thirst, as if to say awakened in or only knew the gifts of but a displacement, sapling liturgy while something to walk through with a colander on your head and a matrix of unreconstructed varmint tailing you through non-Euclidean battlefields. This is how we crazed the wall just before we boiled the sea. As I was reading that, I had the thought, I wonder if my neighbors like poetry, because I'm in the middle of Brooklyn in my backyard. Probably somebody in their backyard could hear me. Well, hope so. This poem is called "The Truth About Complicity." It has an epigraph uh, from the rapper Despot, who I really like. Green means go, red means go. Woke up this morning looking everywhere for the dialectic, har, har, har. We splashed through the spilled vinegar of history. No big thing. Life is one of the grossest experiences you can have, but we press on with it. Organized revolt, armed insurrection, flight to the forest. Just reach into our grab bag of affects and pull out centrifugal grief, poignant certainty, the glib cheer of, say, car washes or the Super Mario movie. All we're really saying here is we must attend to the dynamics. Rejection of ill treatment, an innate quest for freedom, crisis in the economic system and its political implications. Donkey Kong slowly shakes his head and throws an invisible barrel at lines of continuity yet to be established. This poem is called Annette Peacock. I'm a big fan of the singer Annette Peacock, and it contains both historical persons and fictional entities. Annette Peacock. Barbara Giraffe, Martin Egret, Allison Hippopotamus, Nadezhda Goat, Lose My Body, Shake the Hell, Thurston Wildebeest, Omar Snake, Priscilla Lioness, Zainab Elephant, Herman Gorilla, Margaret Octopus, Start a Band, Flung in Joy, Steve Swallow, Creature Palette, Arthur Weird Bug, Patricia Mole, Cry Any Name, Shoshana Starfish, Endless Spider, My Pony, Your Pony. It is awkward. Zoom is an awkward reading situation because there's total silence. You know, you're
Yeah, I know. I keep wanting to like unmute myself to giggle. So
yeah, but I mean, I don't know that I'm not asking people necessarily to do that, but it's off-putting. Okay. This poem has a title that I found on the internet. It's called Stop Trying to Promote Food and Get a Job. Oh, and this is one of those poems that has a quote from Jesus in it. So if you're really up on your Jesus, well, my kid is saying my pony. I love you, laugh. Yeah, so if you're really up on your Jesus, you might catch a Jesus quote in here. Start with what you know, which is to say, start with the scenery. Time-dipped and nearly overwhelming curvature of out and abased pigment drop a prorated larynx in the foothills of what every town in the prefecture is called. Nothing is certain, but there were two approaching on horseback. Of course, I must reject these hot dogs, for I am French and just bursting to share the obscene infinite secret that only everybody knows. Neither the mountain nor the city, neither speeding ticket nor endless sad cistern, neither cockamamie acres reaching for miles in their immodest hunger, nor ruined temple that turns out after you climb 6,000 steps to be a ruined temple. I flicked ash and said, ahoy, comrades. If you meet a pear with teeth, then you must reject it. Old machinery will essay the perfection of your schemes. Ancient snowdrifts will kiss the small of your back. A couple more? A few more? I forgot to set a timer, so I have absolutely no idea how long I've been
No,
doing
you're
this.
good. Get plenty of time.
Okay. This poem is called Dogs Dream of Meat and the Dreams Are Delicious, which is a line from a cartoon in the old psychedelic days of Sesame Street that I really like. There's little dog heads dreaming of meat that fly by as they sing it. And I think it's true. I believe that that is exactly a true statement. Disavowal is the sincerest form of flattery, a retrofit clambake poised on the knife's edge of the creatural. You find yourself careening amid the papal musks of a complete breakfast, steamily parsing whistle from dog, seething under insect decline, a last definitional human shittiness. A word like ekphrasis is so pointless, maybe. We feel the limitations of experience in everything we do. Oh, oblique tourniquet, ha ha ha. Materiality makes no sense, and yet inane bigots use it to rule us terribly. How great, though, to have a word for unwanted plants, to be the newest cadre on the dance floor, weep paste while a spry consigliere praises sleep like fresh bread, blemishless. All across the fabric of whatever, consciousnesses swirl in and out, crystal surf as deep as playlists. Exemplary disease mistaken for celebrity disease, there may or may not be language. What there are for sure are languages. Amid the sullen rattle of ziggurats, you carry a transfigured bird to the exact center of the city, while sentinels ardent with copyright close in from perimeter. A tenuous anyone, shipwrecked on Sibboleth, the pigeons of our lax spoken endlessly down the fun way. I'm gonna skip this one. Sometimes you gotta skip one, you know? Okay. I was really I'm very grateful to the Baffler magazine for publishing this one. It's called Sometimes I Think I'm Falling Apart. It has two epigraphs. The first is from Robert G. Song-koo, who wrote, "To many, spam is the epitome of horror in a can, a filthy amalgam of discarded orts of industrial animal slaughter and sinister chemical additives that require a doctorate in chemistry or necromancy to decipher, a noxious culinary miscreant." And then a second epigraph from Nikita Khrushchev, who wrote, "Without spam, we wouldn't have been able to feed our army. We had lost our most fertile lands." So that's, even if you don't like the poems, you probably learned something about spam, unless you already had read those books. The jargons of symbolic hatred are doing a lot of heavy lifting here in the submerged. Sorry, let me start again. The jargons of symbolic hatred are doing a lot of heavy lifting here in the submerged halftime of plaint versus luxury. Scrimshaw supplicants, but hurtling toward a very small jug. Please just smooth this ointment for me. Please acknowledge the rope that makes the sails work. Clarion thou, though. The word is taught as a substitute for a facial expression or gesture. I don't know, spork blossom, pilfer camp. Oblique edges haunt the villa. The grammar our bodies have despite our work to obliterate grammar. Glow of luggage as it returns to mere cargodom. Banks glisten in the dream of a zero-party state. Banks glisten in the dream of wading into infinite solubility and walking through hole in their thirst and their dollar store flip-flops. Dark life swarms, even dentists have enemies. Long, long ago now, body cavalry search. Hurry up, chief. Follow that dingus. Oh. There's another short one called The Myth of the End of the World. This is dedicated to the wonderful poet Louis Friedman, who has a beautiful book called I Want Something Other Than Time. I so strongly recommend if you haven't read it. Okay, so let there be a pedal point, in thought a sustained tone that other thoughts can come and go, gut bucket back to thread and thread to fiber, spirit of the shack. I tell Lewis, well, I also want something other than time, and then wonder, did I write a poem by doing it? The myth of the end of the world is a big, stupid tree. Let me be both record and instrument, flame and felicity, realize only now the weird perfume, this thinking's dowry. I woke up in the bathtub all like, why push away a barge whose already proximity a gift in the blue mouth of drifting constantly upwards? Honestly, what are poets even talking about? I mean, I love us, but know the end, know the world, know the carbon surround threading an aurelia of after which not. Geo barricades, a heap of mattresses, smoldering obscenity settles, but also just as a very incoherent person who sometimes also needs to be loved, wrap it up, I'll take it. Okay, I'm gonna read like a couple more, not a lot more, but a few more. Maybe, I think it's 4 more, but some of them are very short. Okay. This poem also has a title that's just a true statement. Bridge building is sacred because a river's will is holy. I walk in flower like the alphabet of pontifical sunlight of huntsman's belts, and everything okay about being soft or hard just sort of floats there. Pleasure mutant versus the mutant of history, or the remembrance of surprises flattering itself into music. This poem is called Gonad City, or The People's Beef. Just try it. No sooner will you write the words, the purpose of poetry is, than an acquaintance in Italy sends you a photo of the local condom vending machine, a slab of groovy aqua with fake computer cursive scrawled across the top, feel, make, feel. Well, anyone could have told you that, but it's hard to hold a grudge against that swaying teen republic, even after all the shit they've pulled, forcing their way into half the world's mouths. We feel this even in English, where a lovable, stupid word like twath has been greased out by second, or cheese gassed up all out of proportion. Some several causations, but I mean there always are. That's the nature of history. Parties over before you get there, lagoons slowly rising to eat the shards of what was an absolute rager. All right, one more or two more?
Two more. What the heck?
Two more? But yeah, but see, when you say that, then everybody has to say two more. More exactly because you want one more, and you have to hide that you want one more, so you say two more. Should never make it somebody else's problem. This poem is called I Mean Most Milk Happens in Galaxies, which is once again, as far as I know, true. Beautiful moon, I love you. Mysterious longing, I carve my forked name into your lashes. Sweeping despondency, I drive amid your paisley throb. Laryngitis, I sew a line of yarn across your bread. Our failures of imagination are failures of justice. Sweet tooth as syntax, build a commons, frontiers squealing surplus. It's my nature to become unsure. We live like everyone else, but like one isn't supposed to live. No more involuntary art. No more waking up spatula in hand to walk down, 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 down. Sweet prurience, I glue things to driftwood in the warmth of your distraction. Dislocation, I streak my eyes with cinnabar. Counterpoint, I tarry in the microphone's filth. Delusion, you seem rich. I mean, you live like a very rich person. Revolt against the continuity of curves. A successful emotional niche requires appropriate intensity calibration. All scary, no spice. All aga, no memnon. Reverie clicks its tongue, a particular indecision, a beach ball, a wrench. Oh, please come away with me. We can shed all parts of speech and slow melt our vowels back into the pyramid. Okay, I'm gonna read one more. This one doesn't have a title. I think it's the only thing I read that didn't have a title, despite my total inability to give things titles. This has an epigraph from the Bible, from 2 Kings chapter 18, verse 26 through 27. And Jerusalem's being invaded, and the Aramaic speaking the Babylonian army comes, and this is the scene. As they come, they arrive on the wall and they meet the Hebrew generals. Then Eliakim, son of Hilkiah, and Shebna and Joah said to the field commander, please speak to your servants in Aramaic, since we understand it. Don't speak to us in Hebrew in the hearing of the people on the wall. But the commander replied, was it only to your master and you that my master sent me to say these things, and not to the people on the wall, who like you will have to eat their own shit and drink their own piss? It's a little bit intense, maybe. The marvels blink their eyes across a scrub of gargling feature. The evening, finally cool, pleats itself into the shape of a good time we know how to have, or something. How caught in the radiance of innuendo, seductive politics of the carpool, drab colloquy, or curved hustle, but the point is you'd walk into a lot of rooms. Inexplicably or too explicably, there's no general strike. Spill paratactic cyanide or miraged endeavor, affinities hopping the fence. We language each other and everything happens. Animatronic party congress in the year of epidemic fire. Amazingly, one can hardly notice the complete breakdown of societally crucial systems, adaptively rerouting around the hulk of a prior living, inky hip flying at what's only later revealed as an exit. In this incarnation, the job of poets is to dig a wound in whatever sense suffuses the world of police and capital. To know poetry can only resist, never disrupt their regimes of power, and that a wound is a hungry book, the poem a social feeling, actual power a face that comes through the wall. Or that's what I think of you and your squandered Beetlejuice. Blink twice for a religious evasion, eat salted earth, cradle and vex, fish and battery, ecumenical corners embracing dimension. Delta Squadron to base, the whole place is a shithole. Charosis all over the highway. We're going to have to fight this, and it's going to take everything we've got. Thank you so much for being here. Free Palestine. Hooray.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ian. All that stuff, all that was like mostly new stuff?
Mostly pretty new, some a couple years
Yeah.
old.
I
All
can't
from
wait
the
to-
manuscript I've been working on for a couple years now.
Yeah, I can't wait to see all that stuff on the page. It's just
Oh, thanks, man.
when it's flying by, it's just like, whoa, what did he say? But anyway, we are recording, so that's good. All right, so Eric, do you want to just get started right away, Eric? What do you have, like 5 books now?
Yeah, I think yeah, 5. And then I'm stalling at number 6. I'm just
Eh,
like in the sort of purgatorial like hovering with that. So
yeah.
we'll work some of that out today. I'm actually gonna thanks so much for having me, Jack. And it's
No
great to see
problem.
you again.
Yeah, it's great to see you.
And Ian, I love your poems. This is such a beautiful reading. Um, so I'm gonna scroll through some parts of a manuscript that I'm either calling Euphorbia or Minnow Pulses. So I don't know. We'll see. Um, Minnow Pulses. The ocean in a jellyfish. Oh, I'll hit go. Minnow Pulses. The ocean in a jellyfish. The sky in a cloud. The storm in a worm. The flies in a squirrel's fur, the fences in a horse, the science in an axe, the apricot in an alphabet, the mind in a minnow, the fire in an orchard, the hours in a bee, the bandage in a branch, the hand in a harpoon, the dying sea in a signature, the tiny wars in a sleeping fox, the vowels in a wildcat, the despair in New England, the despair in Indiana in a road in a dying deer, the endocrine system in an anxious ghost. Okay. Okay. And then I have a bunch of like really short, like 1 or 2 sentence prose poems that like I could tell you like 2 hour backstories about, but I won't. This is uh this is Dog and Butterfly Heart. A complicated herd attached to one branch, a palliative wind installed in the trees. Commandeered mirror. In the afterlife of pumas, in the green hovering slightly above a branch, in the antique wings of an ostrich covering my mouth, the film of a woman framing a fading tree between her hands is not a mindless river, noble as the lowest cloud, but the top of a small hill between pages wounded by a spool of blue thread, patiently printing fire beyond the door. Transflaneur. When I am finally lifted over the bed, the branch, the quiet, the absent cats, the little cloud, the fire's involuntary embroidery, 2 or 3 figures, at least, hold hands beneath my back. But who has placed my arms like this, misspelled, where I am suddenly a swimmer near the ceiling, learning to reign in a room on a book? This is a very short poem. Like when I my friend Dorothy Alasky, I was she was out of the country and I went to New York to take care of her dog that was dying and like so I got to spend all this time with Lucy, this like black lab chow that I've known for like a long time. And her partner, Tom Donovan, gave me like a book of like, sort of Russian formalist stuff. I think it was like an old translation or something. And so like I don't even remember where this is from, but it was something like the history of a system is another system or something was a line in it. And so this is called anyway, you didn't need to know about Dottie's dying dog to know this, but I think it helps. So the history of a stem is another stem. The groan in a piece of paper, the brain in a stone. Song exploder. The signal and its double. The sine wave and its double. The cicada and its double, and its double, and its double. Renounced pollen returned to the Datura plains. The miasma was asleep, barbed data describing its brain to the weather in a numb wildflower. We sang, "Have a good storm," until egret seedlings relearned their wiring from the watts of a startled grave. I had hurts, had lost soil, but these grasses, those geese. I only wanted a frozen forest, the elk always drinking from a painted-on pond, not the fox whose front legs never touch the ground. Euphorbia. The exhausted wing of a sounded-out page reversed the void in the grass into a bee, a tiny kite the rain keeps learning. This is the story of recording the wars in a storm for a whole human hymn. Blue threads. The wires in the water have opened a window. Oh, we are the same snow. They say, sense of space, and I watch the miasma I was disappear. In order to form a more patient astronaut, the sky is always threatened. The ground hurts. I can still see the lake in a frog. Wild window. A dead wolf watched droplets of its deleted atoms retune. The little auroras were dressed in tendrils, announcing a rare abyss. Environments for, those like environments things that are just like go to sleep to the sound of the ocean or whatever. Like I recommend environments for. That's where it's at. So environments for. An antinomian note arrived via river. Out to feel how old grasses heard, it wove a swarm above the plains. Among escaping salts, among neutron trails, among the felt inside the broken windows of a burning bee. Membrane garden. In the season of small tufts, wearing a blazing brain, in the audience of the indivisible, a new species of saliva in the staggering waves, no dirt, no other words. Organs of the cormorant. The eyes in a fawn, the fawns in a wolf, the paws in an acre of alfalfa, the fear in a cornfield, the absence in a goose, the loom in a worm. Carrion diary. The snow embalmed a dismembering owl. That's like the saddest, shortest David Attenborough thing. You're just like watching some stuff decay. An owl. Wild Window 2. I have always been a cowslip facing away. The sedated veins in a cactus. Waves learning how to swim. Okay, so this is like a like a visual poem, which is like a dumb thing to come out of my mouth, but it's I started to think about it like I was listening to like Norman Pritchard a lot, the N.H. Pritchard's like Gaius Galax or whatever, like years and years ago. So I just like the sort of permutations. So on the page, this looks this looks real good on the page. So trust me on that. But I think about it out loud as this sort of chant. The lake in a frog. I can still see the lake in a frog. I can still see the lake in a frog. I can still see the lake in a frog. I can still see the lake in a frog. I can still see the lake in a frog. I can still see the lake in a frog. I can still see the lake in a frog. I can still see the lake in a frog. I can still see the lake in a frog. I can still see the lake in a frog. I can still see the lake in a frog. I can still see the lake in a frog. I can still see the lake in a frog. I can still see the lake in a frog. So, oh, okay. I guess that's where I'm ending that manuscript. I have a couple of things I'm gonna bring out of the basement, out of the dungeon here. So I'll go ahead and read this poem, The Two Sound, because it's like so old, it's kind of new to me. The Two Sound. To look out a window is to want to be on the side of the birds. You arrange your arms so the distance is clear. If the entire was wound, breathed glass, a tooth embedded so far it burst, a cut of your cloth to negate every saw. You are the one after zero, the sister of A, bird tuned to ash, to pronounce your medicine in my mouth. I know I can never understand the, even if the was powder on my lips, unacknowledged and disguised as O0, A2. If my eye could stay glass, breathe and stem, can a wound enter the was? Can one entire turn? Stay, I know the tired sound. To look out a window is to be embedded inside birds. If I could amplify your glass, atone for the sound of my incessant lips, you are A, two, tuned to has, ash. You are the you and, the two sound, the utter the. If I have to spit out all my teeth to stay in the, is it all to say the weight of the? If I could stay lost to sound, if a single eye could say two, to breathe glass, to unwind a wing, to say the entire wound is window, stone turned to sound, if the sting unwound itself as sleet, as rain in the cut stem, if the window to pronounce magnifies, you are the one after end, the burned bird I woke up in. And then let's see how I'm doing. Okay. This is a poem from Tune Droves. And if I was going to say anything about this, it'd be like me being a terrible comp teacher, like, I don't know, 20 years ago or something. And I had this idea that we were gonna like write essays based on these like collages I made the night before, and I was gonna like have them read like a Bob Perlman poem, or it was what you would expect from like I'm the natural progression of that mistake in many ways. So I we did a bunch of kind of collages, and it was like all like I taught in the dorms at UMass, and so it was like 8 o'clock on Monday, and I was like, all right, we're gonna do this thing, and they were pretty game. They were pretty I don't know. So shout to 2002 UMass dorm students. But anyway, one of the students said something like, I can't see past the wheat and birds I can't see past, or something. And I just took that shit. So there's something like that in here. So inside any good song, someone is lost. There is a splash. There is another splash. There is another. There is a man, two women, a boy, and a boy. Something else. Someone else. I can't see past the wheat and birds I can't see. There is a singer. Is there a second singer? There is. That is, you can record yourself from the center of a parade. The clouds are large. You are little, and the clouds are so large. Yeah, I think that's good. All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thank you. You were right. This is a great reading. I think the two of you were both, I thought, going into this, that you would both be very complimentary readers, and that's turned out just the way I hoped it would. So thank you both, and thank everybody else for coming out.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we can hang out here and answer questions or anything like that if you want, or we can just wrap it up.
It's up to the people. If people have questions, but yeah. I'll just be hanging out here with the cat in my lap. But go ahead.
Cool.
I just wanted to say thanks to you, Jack. This was so much fun.
Yeah.
Such a lovely
Yeah.
reading.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a
Eric,
lot, Jack.
Really beautiful. Really loved hearing you read.
Yeah. I loved hearing you too. Yeah, this is great. There's so many friends on here that I just want to be like, we should just have like a separate Zoom call like 2 hours from now and like catch up. It's great to see people that I usually like see sort of on my phone a little bit. So great to see you all. Thanks for coming out.
I'm on the big Zoom call.
Yeah.
Hi, Mom and Dad.
Ken Bluefoot here. How you doing, Ken? Thanks for coming out.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Well, I'll see you all. Thanks so much for having us, Jack.
Absolutely. I'm going to be posting the recordings of this on my YouTube channel in a couple of days at
Cool.
most. And
Awesome.
There'll be no
thanks again to everybody. Thanks to my two readers and everybody who came out to listen. So there'll be another one of these coming up sometime soon, probably the end of next month, but I don't know what it's going to be yet. So I'm hoping to do at least one a month for the future. So
Yeah,
anyway,
sounds great.
All right.
I'll be around for them. All right,
Great.
guys.
Great.
Good to see you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Cindy.
Tune in, friends.
Bye,
See
cuties.
you, everybody. See you, Ash.
See ya.
All right. Good night, people.